Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There are not, Madam Chair.
All right, I would consider a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Any comments?
We do have a visitor, I guess, so I
Yes.
don't know if you have the sheet, but
Oh,
introduce yourself, you have
okay.
and your address, I suppose.
He can give him
Well,
first the address.
East of town a little bit. But I brought some handouts. They're not all in perfect condition. So some years ago,
I think I'm the only one that's met you, so can you tell all the other ones what your name is?
my name is David,
Thank you.
Your son graduated from Levi.
and some years ago, there was some despair in the world. So I put together a calendar that, well, it goes further, but I printed out 100 years in this calendar, and there's room to write by the months to hopes and dreams, I guess I would say. And I just kind of wish, when I think back to my younger days, we should have had something like this then. But now we have one. I guess that's about it.
All right.
It just seemed like something that might help kids in school today, maybe even adults if they're not as old as me.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, consider the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the previous monthly board meeting, monthly cash flow, including investments, the monthly bills paid, and the monthly bills paid within the activities accounts. There were no donations this month, and the personal summary sheet. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All right, any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Special board reports with possible action. We're gonna start with an update on graduation from Principal Savage, please.
We plan on having graduation again this year.
It's a good start.
Big decision, yep. We should have a record 90 graduates this year. I'm looking at what we've got on the rolls right now. All of them should get across. Always, nip and tuck to the end with a few of them. But
Am I the only one with a graduate? Anybody else?
as far as school board goes, Sarah's going to represent the school board. We're going to replace one school board member with Matt Mullen because he's got a kid he wants to give their diploma, and I want to make sure we honored that. We will have student speakers will be Chelsea Williams and Justin Anderson representing the senior class. Representing the faculty will be Mr. Ben Horn. It's planned to be outside. That's always our preference, is to have it outdoors. It went very well indoors last year when we had to, back up to that because of weather. And the expectation would be the same this year. If we have inclement weather, we'll look at the forecast early in the week and try to make a decision for sure by Tuesday or so, whether it be inside or outside. So everybody hoping for sunny, beautiful weather, and we'll have a wonderful graduation outside.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm praying at the same time, but not in school. All right, introduction of David Reed, the new high school principal, 2025, 2026.
Madam Chair, members of the board, David was here today, Mr. Reeves was here today, spent the day with staff and Mr. Savage, and just thought it'd be a good time for him to introduce himself to you guys, and so you get to see who he is.
Welcome.
Thanks. My name's David. I was looking at your book here and it says
composed by David, printed by David, airs by David, and published by David. And I
That's
think
true.
I'm gonna take credit for it. You didn't say your last name. So this is
Some
me.
people go by only one name, you know?
Famous people do all of that.
Yeah, like, I'm David Reese, currently serving as an assistant principal at Monticello High School and from that area. And, gosh, thankful for everything that I've been introduced to up here. This has been a emotional move for our family. I consider it a family move just because this isn't, just like me pursuing a job somewhere. It's our whole family that's involved in this. And my wife and I are so excited just initially just to get our kids into more of an outstate area, smaller community, family-centric community. So there's to a beautiful area. So many personal reasons I'm excited, but just as I was exploring the job, doing research on the district, reaching out to people who know a lot about the district, there was just so many things that it just made it very clear to me that this was a very neat opportunity. And I'm leaving something that I'm really enjoying, but it's because there's something special here that I'm just very thankful for the opportunity. So, Jason, appreciate it. Jason gave me a whole day today where it was just a day to meet staff, on the hour, every hour, pretty much. Walk around, meet some students. Everybody's just reached out to me with hospitality, to jeepers. People reaching out to my wife about needs with her kids and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just so very grateful, so very humbled, and just so very excited to get started. So we're a whirlwind right now. We're a mess. We got 4 elementary age kids, and we're getting our house for sale. I've been making the joke. I've been picking off like shards of paint, I was painting last night to get our current house ready for sale, and then we're looking around. But yeah, so looking forward to the craziness dying down a bit and getting up here and ready to roll. So
How old are your kids?
what's that?
How old are your kids?
We have twin boys that are 8. We have a daughter who's 7, and little Samuel will be 3 this June. So yeah,
Well, welcome to not only the school, but the community.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
welcome.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, we can't do that on camera.
Can't do what?
Real
We saved that. Moving on to the curriculum meeting, apparently you held a meeting, no, your upcoming
We have a
meeting on
coming.
June 23rd.
I was listening.
Ryan stood up.
Not yet.
He's the one that gave us a whole bunch of papers.
He
right?
did. And he said he wasn't gonna talk about it. No, because I hated you. I did put a report together, just some updates. We'll talk more at the June 23rd curriculum committee. Spring testing, MCA testing is done. Fast Bridge testing is finishing up this week. So Fast Bridge is our local assessment, looking at math and literacy. MCA, we have preliminary information. We'll do some sharing at the committee, but we'll go into more detail at the curriculum committee. Summer school update. We have 69 students currently registered for summer school. We have about 115 that are registered for summer camps. We had that last year as well. We had 150 in summer school and probably upwards of over 200, 220 that registered initially for summer camps. So we are offering an all-day option. We don't have the transportation this year. That was ESSER dollars that paid for that. We did have a couple of families reach out and ask, like, well, why don't you have transportation? What happened with that? I did put together a little memo, summer school transportation, kind of did that preemptively, just if there were more people that were gonna ask to send that out. Really haven't had anybody else ask at that point. So just to kind of give people the background of that, summer school is paid through targeted service, which has never had funding to do transportation for summer school, so that was ESSER that we used for that.
What were the numbers last year compared to this year?
About 150, 154, I think were the numbers we had last year for summer school.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So a lot of the families that did the camps did the summer school too. because of that.
Absolutely, yep, and that was one of the things, so 2 years ago, I surveyed families between having the all-day option, transportation, which one is the most important to people. The all-day option was by far the one that was responded to the most, but certainly transportation is an issue for people too.
Want to Continue to be nice. Give you a Because otherwise, $10 a week or whatever the camps are, seriously, it's way cheaper than daycare. So
Yeah.
that's why they were
Yes.
sending them. It wasn't necessarily just they thought summer school was so important for their kids.
Right. It definitely was, they had all the options.
Yes.
But look at the bright side. At least they were in the school for those weeks and those days.
We got more time with them.
They made sure they were too. Now,
The third one I have there, I'm gonna keep moving. Professional development planning. So we do have an additional professional development day on June 2nd. I realized that the printouts didn't come out for those two things, so I'm gonna get those printouts for you guys. I'll email them to you or I'll give you a paper copy as well. June 2nd is a PD day. We'll do wrap up and then we'll do some close out stuff for the year. That was in replacement of the snow day that we had. And then the summer staff development, we've always offered out the Sourcewell Summit. We usually have a good 25 to 30 people that register for that. There's a number of things that Sourcewell has offered, so we offered some variety and choice for people. So I'll get you copies of that, you can see that as well. Curriculum update, early childhood, we're purchasing Scholastic for early childhood. That programming piece, I put a little bit of information there, but I also gave you guys a printout of just a summary of what's in that programming. In terms of elementary literacy, we're wrapping up U5 Foundations this year. We will continue that on moving forward into the next year. And the third and fourth grade will move into morphology. And so that's the next level past those phonemic awareness and phonics building. We had 3 classrooms kind of pilot that this year. We did some leveling within third and fourth grade to get started with it. We're excited to have everybody moving into that moving forward. I think, were you able to come in and see you fly?
Yeah, I came in and I observed 2 of the grades of it, and I was very impressed.
Right. And
they do a nice job with it.
They do a very nice job with it and just how engaged all the students were. I was in the group setting, it was impressive to see.
And that's one of the things, as we look at the comprehension curriculum, that side of it is the same thing we're looking for, is how do we make sure that everybody is engaged in that piece of it. And we'll offer up more times for people to come in and see flat in action or see that curriculum in action. Number 5 is an announcement. We got awarded
So
some
excited, I was gonna
VPK
ask.
seats. And now everybody should say, oh, there's a month left of school.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. So the state voluntary pre-K, we didn't get awarded in the fall for that. They then asked all districts, if you're not using those seats, can we take those back? And then they reallocate out. And so if you didn't get awarded as many, they offer some of that. If you didn't get awarded any, it puts you kind of on the list and they just keep working their way down. So we were allocated some seats for VPK. That for us, I think is a great thing. We get a chance to kind of work that into the system. And then our hope is that may continue in the next round, which is after this budgeting section, and it's a 4-year lock-in.
Because that's, I was gonna ask, so if we get 40 seats, do we get to keep 40 seats?
It's not necessarily, yeah. We're hoping that by accepting them,
By accepting.
that we are saying we want them and we need them.
How many seats, how many kids can come?
We were awarded 40 seats.
But how many are usually?
Don't we have people to sign up and come? We have so many.
We certainly do. In VPK, in terms of access to VPK, we've created a system for going through that. So if, for instance, you qualify for free to use lunch, you're automatically a VPK seat, right? And so we kind of go through those pieces based off of this year and some other allocations. There's another funding source called Pathway. We're going to end up using almost every one of those seats.
How many seats are available just in pre-K if I want to still send my kid and pay on my own?
There are
That's what I'm trying to.
there are 80 seats total.
Okay,
in
that-
pre-K.
So once 80, you can't take any more than that.
Correct, yeah, we can't go over 20 a room. VPK won't allow that.
And VPK is that, who's paying for that?
That is the state.
That's the state
Yeah,
pays for those
the state
40
is paid for
kids.
those 40 kids. Yep. And so that's what we're working through right now, is how to put that in the system, how to make that go through the system, because we've never done that before. They will come through as Janet dollars. So So where school readiness runs through community ed, there will be a gen ed fund that comes through with that at 60% of the per pupil rate. So it's quite a bit more than even what we get for just the tuition rates that we charge. So excited to try it. We're excited to kind of get going with it. There is the potential,
Go ahead.
there is the potential to refund anybody that's paid in after January 1st. It has to be in the new tax year. But anybody who's paid into January 1st, that will be able to refund them back those dollars.
So does this start, and so you're saying this starts now funding?
Yeah, so the seats they allocated, it really is retro active for the
January
year.
1st.
So do we get 40 for the fall too, or is that another
That's,
cycle?
that's a different cycle.
So this
It's
is
a new
just
cycle.
all
This
about
is
being
just
refunded.
all about this
That's
year.
so
Okay, that, yeah.
That
is so weird.
It's May.
It is, and it's one of those, like in conversation, it's been,
But think of the
all right,
refund.
let's accept this so that we can hopefully get kept up on the list that, and show them that we have a need.
Yes.
One of the things we learned today is that as we do our reporting in Mars, even if we have students, for instance, that didn't get slotted as a DPK, MDE will start looking out and saying, oh, you have a couple left. If we have more seats, we will reallocate. It's a long shot, but we're hoping that.
How many do we have in the right now?
We have 40 seats allocated to
I
us.
know we have 40 seats allocated for this,
We have
80.
80 total.
that actually attend.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
how
we
many.
have 80 possible
That's-
slots. We
that-
don't have 80 students.
So how many are, so we have 80 possible spots.
We
How
have
many?
about 65.
That's right,
That
because
surprises
I think
me.
it's actually
I thought
60.
that would be full.
the reason I asked that question is because if we go back to refunds,
No,
then if there was a family that comes and say, well, how come that family got refunded, but I.
See, I would wonder that.
Yeah, how do
That's
you
why I
figure
was
that out?
asking, that's your.
That's why we have to have our process for who gets
Yeah.
allocated.
Free
It
and
starts
so-
with free and reduced.
And so once we have that process, that it would be.
It will
good
be
so we all
delineated
know
and then it will be
about it.
posted on our site and also on all of our documentation.
Yes.
The
You
free
can't
and
just
reduced doesn't
divvy it
pay
out
anybody.
evenly?
They have to apply through Pathway. And so they can
That's why I
get
asked
Well, I
that
think
question.
that's
portion
the
of it.
weirdest part.
They can get 100% of it. There's kind of a scale.
So we won't be giving them money they didn't pay.
Correct. If they were in Pathway,
If
they
that's
won't
paid
get
by something
allocated.
else.
Can you explain, can everybody hear that? Because I don't think everybody heard
Yeah.
that.
So if
Explain that
some-
differently.
So there is a funding source called Pathway, Pathway 1 and Pathway 2. If somebody got their tuition paid for already through that, they won't get a refund of that, right? Because that was another state grant that had allocated it.
So
One of
you
the
know- so
questions
you know
is
who those
maybe they
people
didn't
are?
have the whole thing paid for,
Okay.
right?
So then hopefully we
This
don't
would
pick
cover
those.
it.
So in summary, a little bit differently, not everybody's gonna get money back because they don't deserve money back.
Right.
And it only starts for January 1st on. So if they paid something in the fall, they don't get refunded for that
If
up
they
until
paid the
January
100%
1st.
and got the discount.
They're not.
Because of the tax year.
Back
Right.
there.
So
That would've been-
people will get money back, but they won't get the whole thing back. And some will get more than others and some won't get any, but we'll go through the process. People will know, we'll get them, the good news is people will get money back.
Is this how it is every time?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not if you qualify right away
If
to
you
begin.
qualify for it right away, we don't even get to the part of like.
We
And you said the
opted,
next time it goes through, if we get seats, it'll be a
So
4-year
we just,
4 years. they
we
made
just
it
need to
for
make,
you.
we just need to make sure that when,
our process.
as we're going through this process, that it is very crystal
Correct.
communicated.
Yes.
yeah, we'll do that.
Yep.
And everybody will get a letter and it'll explain everything and, yep.
What if everybody could pay? Then what happens? You just don't do this program?
You can
Chance
continue, you can
I know, but what if-
continue down the
like, what if it's
criteria and
15
use all of those seats. You can continue down the criteria and use all the seats.
Okay.
And so, for instance, one of the things we've talked about is at the very end of the criteria,
No,
it's
free.
first one, first date, or first in, first served. In terms of as the applications come in, they're gonna be date stamped on time, right, as they come in.
We'll find them.
So,
So,
yeah.
there will be-
We'll utilize the 40 minutes.
Yeah.
There will be no issue.
Yeah, that won't be an issue. So-
So it's good news.
So it is good
Money
news,
back.
exciting about it, but it is
There's
a lot to
there's
try
there's a lot of
to
work in the
retroactively
process.
make this work.
The retroactive is gonna be interesting
Yes.
and there's gonna be a lot of questions because it's first time.
Absolutely, yep, yep. So we'll work with everybody to kind of back and forth, right? Answer the questions. So, Our number 6 that I have on there is just some updates on CIS and PSO. We've been talking about that. Jamie Pratt put together a couple of documents, and so you have those in there. Just to help people understand in terms of the difference between PSEO, CIS, and then as we partner with Alex Tech, you can see there's the online college in the schools programming that they offer as well. That's that center one or that OCHS. And then the other one is a flyer that was sent out to families. And we'll be meeting with families, kind of talking more about that transition over to Alex Tech. We will have a combination this next year of working with CLC, working with Alex Tech as we start to kind of figure all those pieces out. And then the very back
Can I
side.
just say something else about that? Sue's had some meetings with parents and kids, and it's gone very well. Kids and parents are very understanding of the switch, of the money that we're saving with Alex Tech, and they've been very supportive of that and understanding of that, which saves us money, which means we can do other things with that money rather than PCLC. So it's gone very well with I think Jamie would say that as well, the parents and the kids that we have met with. Obviously, some will still need to go to CLC because they got to finish their programs and stuff, but it's gone very well with them. So I think they've been very, very receptive to the switch.
And honestly, Alex Tech has some very interesting programs.
They really do.
They
And
offer.
I will say the communication with Alex Tech has been really, really good as well.
So are we phasing out CLC then? Is that what I'm understanding?
We are in terms of who we work with directly for CIS and who
Right.
Except for-
we register for PSEO, but we have some kids that are in programming right now with CLC. We
Right.
won't break that.
No,
Except
but
for
so
kids that
like,
want to
let's
go
say
there
like
directly.
Frank, when Frank gets up there,
Mhm.
he won't have the option, not that Frank's going to CLC, but he won't have that option. He'll
Nope.
only have the stuff here we offer.
Students have access to PSEO. They can choose really where they want to go. Directly through us, through the school, though, we will work directly with Alex Tech. But Frank could say, I want to go to CLC.
And he would have to go there full time.
He wouldn't have to go full-time. He can still go part-time. He can still do those things. The process is just a little bit different.
But he'd have to take his classes there,
Yes.
even if they're only 2 or 3 a day.
Right. I'm trying to understand. I feel like you're adding more to your plate by having 2 colleges now that you work with.
We
3 with CIS.
we actually have that many already. We have kids that go wherever they want to go.
Right.
Because that's the law. They
That's
can
a
go
law, they
wherever
can go wherever they
want.
go, but we're working on a contract with Alex Tech, which is much cheaper and much better communication and gives parents and kids better,
And they have to meet
feedback.
requirements,
To get in. Yeah, I
The-
like that.
which
The
is,
big one being the cost difference is pretty dramatic between Alex Tech and what CLC is doing. CLC is trying to do some different things. The other is the communication between the college and high school. And Alex Tech is showing a lot more communication and open communication with that.
Then my last question then is, with Alex Tech, are these broadcasted classes, so you still feel like they're in person, like you can talk to the professor, or are they still online classes?
online,
Online
like CLC.
classes. Yeah, just like CLC.
Except for CIS, will be our own instructors doing it.
Okay, right, so all these Alex Tech ones are
Online,
online
like-
classes, they're not an in-person hybrid version of some sort?
Nope.
They're all online?
Online, just like CLC is as well.
CLC.
Most of them are online. Most of them
CLC
are.
doesn't have in-person classes that you go to?
And
Not-
in person, but
not-
most,
No, not in this building,
most of
yes.
their online classes
Yeah.
from CLC are asynchronous, so they're not live.
Okay.
Most of the kids are taking them online.
I don't know how they do it. Anyway.
The only other thing on the back, just kind of to update, as we're making this transition to CIS, we do have quite a bit of summer work that we are doing this summer. Teachers coming in, working on those changeovers to classes. Some people that are switching to an Alex Tech class might be very similar to a class that they taught at CLC, but there's some changes to that, so they're doing some purchase planning. And then the other is looking at our MTSS process and looking at intervention, extension, all of those pieces, and we're starting a process with that in June. So there'll be a lot going on this summer.
Keep you all busy.
We will be busy, very busy.
sounds super fun.
Anybody have any other questions for Ryan? All right, thank you very much. Activities.
We did not meet, but we got a meeting scheduled for June 11th.
Okay.
And within that, Swanberg's gonna go over the
Yeah,
resolution.
we have a couple of action items. Staples is leaving this co-op with Little Falls, so we have to approve the dissolution of the current swimming co-op of Little Falls. That needs to be an action item to dissolute the current co-op we have with a couple schools.
So I will make the motion to do the dissolution of swimming co-op with Staples.
Just Staples, or does it need to say Staples?
Just
or Little
Staples,
Falls?
yeah, it's fine, it just needs to be dissolution of the current co-op.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry. It's reading. I'm sorry.
Motion passes. Okay, approve revised swimming co-op with Little Falls.
So now we have to start a new co-op that doesn't include Staples. It's co-op with Piers, us, and Little Falls. So now we need to act and have a new co-op started with Little Falls.
So I'll make that motion to
I'll
approve the
second.
revised swimming.
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments?
You said
So we still-
Piers, but on the form, Piers wasn't on the other one, but there's gonna be three now. It's gonna be Piers.
Yes, I think it says it on there, doesn't it? With the
I
split.
just have the
Here's
decision.
always been there.
Oh,
What was it, Royalton?
If it's all three of them were in there.
Royalton, not Piers, I'm sorry.
Little Falls, on the, what I'm looking at is Little Falls Coders.
Four, one.
The new one.
The one that we're pulling Staples off.
Little Falls, Villager, and Staples.
Pierce was always part of their swimming program, but I get it, I'm with you.
The paperwork doesn't match, is all I'm saying.
Piers is already in Little Falls, in there, I think, I don't know.
I'm just.
I got the paperwork.
I'm just
All
saying the paperwork.
Yeah.
The paperwork I got from Little Falls is the one we're signing tonight, so we're good.
So, here's Little Falls,
No, it's
No.
Royalton.
Royalton, Little Falls, and us.
This is the old one.
This is, you're looking at the old one. I don't have the new one on there because I just got it
Got it.
yesterday. So that did not get downloaded.
Just accept it the way it is.
Any other questions?
I have the correct No. one here.
Oh.
I was just saying, what he said, let's do this.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Facilities.
Didn't meet, got a meeting coming up.
We did have, I do have a meeting scheduled with Lakewood on May 27th for weight room discussion. Fencing did get updated. We did fix the fencing issue out on the baseball field that got extended. So that got done on Friday. Irrigation's turned on.
Can I,
Okay, China, I think the irrigation is not sufficient enough at this point. It's not watering long enough, and the sprinklers need to rotate to infield, as it is hard as concrete. And people are having to water before games and during practices, and it looks very rough. Any way we can get water on it longer,
The problem with it is that you might have water standing in other places. So
So you can't turn them on per zone.
whoever sent you that can come and talk to me because I don't know anything about what they're talking to. So
well, I do know, in watching the baseball game, that infield,
Which
It's
field are we talking?
baseball, the varsity baseball,
The
the infield is concrete.
Okay.
I mean, it's coming, it's balls bouncing up over Grant's Head even. I
it
mean,
needs to be
and it
worked.
should not
Yeah.
happen. It needs to be watered. It
Don't
needs to
they
get a
have
little bit of water.
zones that you turn it on
yeah,
based on a
it's,
zone?
they're turned on at night and they run.
But you can turn one zone on for 4 hours versus this one for 2.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the only problem might be by the time the zones run through, you don't get everything run through it throughout the whole
Bad
night.
start.
What's that?
So I'll have to ask because
Hopefully.
our pumps only set up so much to do so many zones at a time. You can't turn them all on all night. We don't have enough pressure to go through that.
I understand.
So I'll check and see if we can,
I
Do
think
it
it's, I
longer.
think it's, in my opinion, it's twofold. It's number one, we waited until last week, if not this week, to turn on the sprinkler system. That should not happen. That should
But
be
it
May
got
first, May
so
first.
warm.
Yep, I get it, but May first, we should have
Fast.
that up and running, but we weren't ready for it. And the weather got to us. I mean, that's.
well, it got hot right away. But
I mean, I'm not, it's
Yep.
just something that we should be looking at in the future is maybe
Yep.
on May
Well,
first was the time.
we tried to get Youngbauer out here for weeks. You know, it's like anybody else. You get them out here. When they get out here, they get out here. But
But now we need to rectify the situation.
Yep.
So,
we'll, I'll have to see if we can do it.
thank you.
Yep, and the other part of it is that, Part of it is temperature at night, just like the spring, like Cassandra asked me about the water fountain out there. Well, you don't want to turn them on when it's too cold at night, because then you got a frozen pipe.
Yeah.
So
It's just
some
that
nights it got down into the 20s.
Oh,
So,
yeah, it's gonna freeze again next week.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's gonna freeze?
No,
All right, anyway, I have a question
Yeah.
in regards to.
but I will check on to see if we can run it more on the varsity fields.
Thank you.
Since we're on facilities, when you go meet with Lakewood, in your conversation, the plans that we have set in place, how, are they expecting you to present solid plans? The reason I ask is I did talk to, a couple coaches, / teachers, and they have some concerns about what we are doing. Obviously, we always start big when we're planning something, you know, we all throw in what exactly we want, and then we, you know, work it down. There's a concern that the courtyard is pointless. So for everybody to consider, the courtyard is pointless. If we could somehow just extend the whole weight room to cover that whole area. And now we have space for classes with doing workouts, more room for whatever. I'm just relaying messages is all I'm
The
reading.
issue with that will be cost.
Right,
You're gonna ask for another $1 million, probably to extend it into that courtyard.
well, are we concreting it, that courtyard anyway?
No, I don't think it's all concrete, it's just,
So
I don't
what was it
remember,
gonna
I don't
be?
know, we haven't even gotten into the plans
Okay.
yet. I know it's just, current right now is there's some turf in the middle, so kids can run and work out on a turf. I don't know about anything other than that, we haven't gotten into the details of what that all looks like, so. But the other issue was to extend it. What you always hear from teachers, if you're gonna affect those classrooms in that wing, they won't have any natural light, because every one of those windows will be covered then. So you got 8 classrooms that won't have natural light. Now, you can talk to teachers, they love natural light. So if you extend it more, you're losing all those windows, you won't have any lights in any of those classrooms.
What about skylights?
They leak,
Too expensive.
you're gonna be fixing them all the time.
If I remember correctly, we are getting to the point of our growth with impervious. It's
There
gonna be-
was some of that issue as
we're-
well,
We're gonna
yeah.
be where we're at. So I can be-
But I mean, we should look at it, but
It's just something that was brought to my attention by, you know, I am not the athlete in our family, okay? My kids are the ones, not me, and I talked to some of their coaches and they just brought the concerns to my attention and I said I would relay the concerns.
Anything
Yeah,
else
once
on
Dave and
facilities?
this goes through the facilities department, we'll handle it just the way it needs to be.
Anything else from facilities?
Right, Cal?
no.
Moving on to personnel. Updated enrollment sheet for May. We're very excited.
you have that sheet in front of you. You can see the change there. I put the first 3 grades in blue just to kind of highlight them a little bit. Currently with kindergarten, we're at 88 with 5 sections. That puts you at 17, just a little over 17. So that's at the low end of our policy, right? You're at 17 right now. That's still open. We'll gain some more kids, usually do in kindergarten. Not too worried about it. First grade, we have 95, possibly 97. We had 2 people that filled out their paperwork, but we're kind of questioning, they're looking at other schools. So either way, if you have 4 sections of first grade, which we currently have, you're at 24.25. If you add a section in first grade, you drop that down to 19. So now you're at low end of first grade, you're at low end of kindergarten, right? If you happen to add a section there. That's still open, so you might gain some kids there yet. Second grade, we're at 106. We currently have 4 sections. That would be 26.5, which puts you over the recommendation of 25. If you add a section, you then go down to 21, which puts you kind of at the low end there as well. So not as bad, but you're at low. So let's say you added, my recommendation right now, as I talked to Sarah, would be we posted an elementary position. I believe pretty confident that we could at least put it in second grade because you have 105 and you have 2 on the waiting list. So I'm pretty sure you're gonna end up at 105. So we posted the position. So my recommendation for you tonight is to approve adding one of the elementary people back in that we cut back 2 months ago because of our enrollment numbers. And moving forward, we've gained some kids, so I would recommend adding that back. I wouldn't at this time say that it's gonna be in second grade.
It's just an element.
I would just say an elementary position, see where the numbers come in. Because if you gain some kids in first grade, and let's say you're at 100, you might be better off putting that in first grade, and then you're low in first grade, you're low in kindergarten, maybe you ride that second grade at 26 kids.
I
So-
am, before any questions, I'm going to make a motion to accept to add the elementary teacher or a section somewhere, it says elementary section, but to add back teacher, so we can add a section where needed.
I'll second it.
Perfect. Now, any discussion, any questions, comments?
Would that
concerns?
be, given to people that had been let go first?
Nope,
It would
It's
just be
open.
everybody, so everybody could apply, people that
Everybody can
got let
apply.
go plus new people.
yep. There's no guarantee that the people that were cut would get the job.
Yeah.
It's posted, reposted, they can apply, re-interview, and Josh would open it up and possibly, because it's a different grade level, right? It may not be what they want and or best fit,
Or there might not be available
Right.
anymore.
you never know.
Just be prepared to talk about it next month, we'll be flirting with us till August.
That's all.
But I do wanna, just my advice is,
I think it's a good idea to
I agree.
get ahead
right,
of it
I
already,
think it's gonna be.
and then,
and I think the thing that you gotta keep in mind is if you, adding the one back right now is fine. If you add them both back, depending on where your numbers fall at kindergarten, if your numbers don't increase, you're low there. If you just remember the big picture down the road. We were looking at $700,000 cuts 3 or 4 years from now. So adding them all back in, you might not be helping your cause. Doesn't mean you can't. I'm just saying something to think about. And to see where you are with your numbers, by July or August, you might be at 22 kids in kindergarten or 21 kids, and now you've paid for that, people. So when you look at the low numbers, the reason I say that is because if you have 17 kids in kindergarten versus 21, well, that's 4 kids times $8,000 is 32,000 a classroom. Times 4, you're making 150 grand versus writing them you've lost that 150 grand at 17 kids. So it helps you knowing we got these numbers back, but keep in mind where our numbers are for all those classes. It doesn't mean you can't, and you are high in 3rd and 4th, which helps bubble those low numbers in K1 and 2. So it just kind of keep an eye on it and see where you're at.
Do we know,
3rd grade is.
is this a fluke, all these additions coming in because of the Randall School
Some.
situation? So can we expect this next year, our numbers, I don't know if consistently is the right word, growing at those lower levels every year?
No,
This is only my first year, so I'm wondering, do you guys find yourselves voting every year to
We
either
talked about
increase
this.
class sizes, increase our cap?
We did back in the day, that was a constant thing. I remember hiring a teacher the day school started. But in the last, I'd say 5-6 years.
It's been pretty consistent.
It's been, everybody we pretty much know, especially kindergarten wise, where our numbers are
It's been pretty consistent.
We talk about this
Every year.
every year. Numbers.
This is like
every year.
Ideally, we want to keep the class numbers as low as possible.
While still,
While still being
but
fiscally
being
responsible.
budget friendly,
Right,
And
I
it's a
know,
very
pay for.
juggling.
yeah.
And if you gain some in that kindergarten, that helps
Yep.
pay for some of those first grade kids, so it kind of is you got to look at it as a big picture.
So that, and then you said sometimes you've seen it where we hire on the first day, so you're saying let's say out of nowhere, we get 5 more kids at a certain grade level, we're
Right,
like,
you
boom,
could.
Yes.
that tips the bucket, and
Could.
now we've got 5 sections.
In my former district, sometimes I couldn't hire till after the school started
Well, that's lovely.
because they were, the theory there was whites of their eyes.
Well,
We aren't hiring until we
butts
see
and
the
seats
whites
is
of their
what we're
eyes.
hearing.
Right. But I feel comfortable with that. Like I told Sarah, we got 2 on the waiting list. So even if some of those kids don't come, we're gonna, and maybe we lose 5 kids in 2nd grade, but then we decide, let's put it in 1st grade because, they're 24 in 1st grade. We'd
Looking
rather
at
have
these numbers, there will be a class that will be very happy to have a split if something else adjusts.
And there'll be a class that maybe isn't so happy,
Yes.
so it's kind of see where the numbers fall. But I think adding the 1 back in is the right thing to do now, and I can justify it with the gains that we've had.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Policy,
Oh, that's me.
that is you.
That's me. All right. It's not a lot. It really isn't. Becky says it was like 20 minutes. It's all just like stuff that they've already done for us. Like we don't have a choice.
Welcome to policy.
Yeah, easy job. All right, this is the first reading of policy 413, and what it does is it updates the definition of disability to reflect amended Minnesota law. So basically, they made the law, we have to accept it. Get over it, folks.
All right.
All right, can I move on? Okay, 425, clarifies whether the board or school admin appoints staff development committee members. So this is, apparently our policy read that the board appoints these people, but we're just gonna let the administration do it. And there is checks and balances. I did ask about that just to make sure that we are, being fair, if you will. So that's policy 425. 512 removes language potentially at odds with Minnesota statute 121A.80. If you do want to read it, it just was super wordy, and it just takes out the super wordy and puts it just basics. Let's see here. 530, I thought we weren't discussing yet.
Yeah, you're right. That shouldn't be on there. That's a mistake. 5:30 is coming.
It's a heads up.
It's a heads up. 5:30 is coming, so we'll change that.
70, oh yeah, I forgot 704, sorry. Oh yeah, that's why, because 5:30 is, okay, got it. 704. Updates GASB guidance on asset capitalization. So there's a certain number now, if something is of a certain value, we have to track that inventory of that asset. So track inventory of assets of a certain value. It went from, with a capitalization level that equals or exceeds 5,000, group purchases for technology, furniture, or other equipment that is purchased as a per quantity that otherwise may be below, the total threshold is now 25,000 instead of 5,000.
So is that your job?
It's not our job,
Sounds
that's
like-
all I know.
Sounds like a super fun job.
That guy over there, as if he doesn't have enough to
Those
do.
people.
Yeah. That's another state.
One's in the back table.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Anything else from policy?
Nope, but we do have a meeting scheduled in June too.
Perfect. Budget.
Budget, we did not meet, we meet in June. And Missy probably has a manager report.
I do. So everyone has a sheet. So Stacy and I attended the annual MASBO conference. So that's the school business official conference that they have every year, which is well attended by everyone around the state. So there were some very good sessions that we attended, so we look forward to bringing that information back. Special ed, our fiscal monitoring that we're under review, still no updates since last school board meeting, so we're still waiting on that. Current budget spent, so we're in month 11 of 12, and we have currently spent 76% of the budget. State legislature, so again, just a reminder that that's still hanging out there. We're supposed to settle on May 19th, but we'll see if that happens. VPK, I know Ryan touched on this already, so with those seats, that comes the funding for our school readiness kiddos for this current year. So we're working on our end also to correct the data for those kiddos that will be eligible for the VPK seats, because once that funding, or once the kiddos are coded correctly, then we send a file to the state, and that's how we generate funding back to our district. So we are working on getting that done, so we can get the funding sooner. So that's what I have.
Any questions for Missy? Thank you very much. Anything else from budget?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to other DLT meeting scheduled for May 19th, 3:30.
Is that Monday or Tuesday? Did we move it?
That's Monday.
That's Monday.
Okay, Monday the 19th.
What is that?
District leadership team.
Yeah, anybody in the board can come, but we have a couple reps that Sarah and Sarah do represent, but anybody
Curriculum
can come to
committee
it.
is the rep, but yeah, anybody can come.
Is there coffee?
You do, it's not coffee usually.
The treats.
usually a treat. And then move October 13th board meeting.
We have to move it to October 20th because it's a state statute, it's Indigenous Peoples' Day. So we can't meet on the second day of October, second week, we have to move it to October 20th.
Because you can never be on a holiday.
On,
I'm sure
government.
on
any,
certain ones,
like,
certain ones you can't have whole public
So
meetings.
no.
So
So I would make a motion to move the October 13th board meeting to October 20th. Is there a second?
Second that.
Now, is there any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I just want to, a couple items. I want to congratulate the art teachers. They had a really successful art show that was held in the CTC Center. Had almost 300 people attend, so well attended. Kindergarten graduation is on May 29th at 1 o'clock.
They're very happy with their new.
I wanted to surprise you, Ms.
Oh,
Nagel,
sorry,
so I'm sorry that they told you.
Oh, yeah.
what were you talking about?
They got new robes and
Caps and gowns.
caps and gowns because they were 30 years old.
I was gonna say, we probably graduated in those.
We did, they've been here for 35 years.
That's great, yay.
Same caps and gowns.
Food Service Wellness Committee meeting, Sarah attends that as a board rep and a parent. That's held next Monday, May 19th. We have to have 2 of those. It's where we talk about things with students and families about the food service and things we can do differently, and lots of good things came out of the first one. So we'll have that meeting again.
Yeah, it's this Sarah. not
Dr.
this
Blake.
Sarah.
Yeah, that's Sarah Smith.
She's all confused.
Glitter grapes.
Commencement is on Friday, May 23rd at 7. We have track and field day, grades K through 2 is on this Wednesday. Grades 3 and 4 are on Thursday. They moved the one up from Friday to Wednesday because of the rain possibility. Scholarship night is on Wednesday, May 21st at 5:30 in the CTC Center. And that's followed by baccalaureate. And the last thing I have is the Radio Senior Spotlight is on Wednesday, May 14th, from 6 to 8 on 95.9 FM. You'll have Drew, Caden, Gracie, Chelsea, Aiden, and Cooper are all seniors that are going to be speaking on the radio. So if you want to,
What night is that?
that is on Wednesday, May 14th,
This one.
this Wednesday, couple days. And that's all I got.
All right, any questions for Ms. Mulder? All right, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that one.
A second?
I'll second.
All, any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you.
There's some papers for you to sign and policy, policy ones, board members.